So I just rescued this Monstera Siltepecana from a store when I saw it, because it clearly was not living its best life. And I thought, well, I can do a video on it too. So this he's kind of wilty looking and stuff. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to repot him, go over what potting mix is best. You guys will get to see what pieces I prune off based on what the roots look like, maybe remove some of the old or dying roots. I'll show you what those look like, explain a little bit more about the Siltepecana, how to best care for it, and what kind of lighting it needs, and then we'll repot it up into either one pot or a couple of pots, and you can see how it looks at the end. So let's get started. Okay, so first I'm going to take this guy out of this pot here and take a look. Okay, so this feels pretty soggy, the soil, which is typical at a big box store. They tend to overwater them or underwater them, or both. And I'm also noticing these roots here aren't as mature and really they aren't really going throughout the soil mix as I like. So this guy was very unhappy in the soil mix basically. So I'm just gonna take these individuals out. Although the roots though, they look okay. I don't see any rot or anything. So the Siltepecana, it really wants to climb. All Monsteras like to climb, but the Siltepecana is different because actually it requires, in order to complete its life cycle, if you want it to develop those full 5-inch leaves with the fenestrations over time, it needs to go up a pole. If you don't mind it staying in this more juvenile condition and like that silvery leaf, then don't put it on a pole and you can have it trailing, but it's not going to grow in the same way. As these leaves mature, they are going to lose some of that silvery sheen, but they're going to grow in size and get those fenestrations. Now the fenestrations also, you probably haven't seen them before, right, on a Siltepecana, or not very common. That's because in order to get there, they need to have a couple of different things. They need to be on a pole so that they're finishing their life cycle. And also it's still going to be about at least 2 years generally before you see those fenestrations. So typically, the longer they take, the less common it is that you're going to see something like that. So we've got some dead pieces here. So now we're going to go into the pruning part of this. Actually, you know what? I think I'm going to get all of this first removed and the soil kind of shaken off. And it's always good to have a couple of different pots, like our buckets. I have my bucket for my plants once they've been pruned and done. I've got my bucket of crap soil, and then I've got another bucket over here with my fresh chunky mix soil that we'll go over in a minute. But let me finish kind of separating these and then get rid of this old soil, this crap. It's very dense and heavy, and it is nothing like their natural habitat at all. They're going to absolutely thrive, and that's one of my favorite parts, is to watch these plants really thrive once you just change their conditions slightly. It's like they've been waiting for it. Once you get them in a good mix, they just are like, whoopee. And I'll provide links down below to the products, or our chunky mix, or if you've got a local plant shop that has chunky mix. Not all chunky mixes are created equal, so make sure you know what's inside of it, what the ingredients are. Oh, it feels so good to get rid of this crappy soil. Okay, so now because I don't notice any glaring problems with the soil, although it's crap, I don't see anything crawling around in it, pests, and there wasn't any root rot. So I know that there isn't any overproduction of fungus or bacteria that's bad, that's going to cause a problem. It doesn't have a bad odor. So although I am going to make sure that's far, far away and thrown out, I'm not going to go through the painstaking process of cleaning all of these plants and their roots, hydrogen peroxide and all that, because I don't think I need to decontaminate this. So next I'm going to go through each piece here and just cut off stuff that well, that it, one, isn't bringing me joy, and two, is not helping the plant. So this one's kind of snapped here. And pruning always is a good way to stimulate growth. Now you just want to be careful, you don't want to over prune things. You want to make sure that there is enough green space, essentially, for it to make sure it's able to do the whole photosynthesis gig. But I'm excited to do this video and share these with you guys just because of that silvery quality that they have, and it's like all of those little ridges in there. They're just very unique looking. And like here I had to cut off this vine because it was snapped, but this leaf here, this is still good. So I'm going to cut on each side of it like this, each side of where that little root is growing and where that leaf comes out. And then I can propagate this in water, or I can just pot it directly in my soil because it does have those aerial roots, which will serve it well actually. What I'm going to do is use our chunky mix. Now this is, I pre-moisten this. And what this is it's a great mixture, and it's got perlite in it, chunky perlite, and coconut chunks, which are these little things here, and leca, which are those clay balls. And so basically what I'm creating is a very lightweight, airy mix. And this is what's really giving the plant, it's going to give it some structure so it can anchor to something, but it's also very airy while still being somewhat moisture retentive, like with those cocoa chunks and the moss here, those help retain water. So it's mimicking that natural environment in the tropics, like when it's growing on a tree per se, where there might be moss and bark and stuff that's going to hold on to water, but there's going to be a lot of airflow over that root system too. So that's what we're recreating with this. So it's a fast draining, high quality mix. So I'm just putting a little bit in the bottom here first, and then I'm just going to pick out a few little clumps like this guy here. That's a good one. And actually that's a bit too much in the bottom. So, and if you've got like a little plant and it's got this huge long root system, you can like cut some of it off like I just did there. It'll recover just enough so that there's, you know, enough roots there. Or if anything's mushy, absolutely, or if it's black or smells bad, you got to cut that off. So I'm just kind of lightly potting that up in there. You don't want to press down too hard because you can damage those roots, and you want to avoid doing that, but you do want to at least so it's stable in there basically. So, and then I'm just going to put some more on the other side here. And there you have it. Look at how cute that looks. Now it's nice. We just have the healthy stuff. It's in a great mix, and we can water it, put a little tray under it, and that'll be it. This one, I'm going to take some of these ones with the longer trailing vines. I like to have really nice and full pot. Now I am also though, a good thing is I'm keeping in mind that I'm going to be eventually putting a moss pole in here, right? So let me show you on the plant where you're going to attach it with the moss pole. So if I'm looking at this plant here, right, you're going to see this root system at the base, and then it's always going to shoot out new leaves along here. So it's just gonna, along the stem, you're gonna see new points of outgrowth, right? And there's the side that has the stem, and then down here below it, if you can see there, right there, that is an aerial root. So that is what will attach to the moss pole. So if I'm going to put in my moss pole, I want to put it back here. So it's like that. So I'm going to keep that in mind when I'm potting this, because see this one with the aerial roots, I want to keep all of them facing, the aerial roots facing the same direction, so that they'll be facing the moss pole when I put it in. So I'm going to kind of hold them in my hand almost like I'm arranging flowers. It's so the aerial roots are all kind of facing that direction. So like that. Put them in the pot. And it doesn't have to be perfect, you know, because as it grows, you can kind of turn and wrap it around and then go around the moss pole, but I like to keep them, and I like to have a point too in the back here where I know I'm going to be putting that moss pole. I don't have any plant, so I'm not killing anything. There's something so satisfying when you repot plants. And they just look so happy and pretty when they're sad. If you got a plant that's just looking sad, go ahead and pick up some of our like premium potting mix, or if it's an epiphyte or an aeroid, some of this chunky mix. Repot it and it's like a whole new plant all of a sudden. They will start thriving and they will instantly look better. Okay, so there it is. It doesn't, I'm gonna wait on the moss pole because I've got to make it. But this is a great start. It's nice and bushy and full at the base. So then when I am ready to put that moss pole in, I can then attach the moss pole to this little guy. So. And we've still got, like I said, all of this left to plant up. So, all right, so here is the before and after. And here's all the stuff we cut off. It seems like a lot, but I'm very pleased. I mean, look at all of this, everything on this tray here. These are all plants that we've recovered and repotted and are now going to just do well and thrive. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I'm really trying to do more content and more planty info updates and different things. So please follow us. We're the Soil Bar. Like, subscribe, all that good jazz. And let me know in the comments what you thought about this and what kind of videos you'd like us to do in the future.